So, folks, people have been noticing how many folks have been leaving Twitter to go to Bluesky, and it's causing conservatives to have a little bit of a meltdown because, in their minds, they're doing the vital work of expanding all left leaning folks' horizons by, saying stuff like trans women aren't women, or, hey, maybe race science is real again. And hey, maybe this eugenics thing is actually good, even though we've established for centuries that it's not. Like a lot of those ideas. They think they're broadening the discussion when they introduce ideas like the world is flat or global warming is a hoax. They think this is broadening the discussion and the horizons of all involved. And as someone who's been on the receiving end of a lot of conservative hatred, um, no, it's not. Being told that you're a man is not a good thing for me. Or for anyone who's like a trans lady, like it's not fun. It doesn't broaden my horizon except, show that there are people who hate me and probably would like me to die. Which I don't know if that's a useful bit of info to have reinforced day in and day out. That might actually be something classified as an info hazard. But I digress. Now, if you're like, well, but Jack, surely they're not just talking about, like, I don't know, they aren't really thinking that it broadens your horizons, are they? And yes, they are. That is literally the argument of the Globe and Mail. And I wanted to go over this article with you guys because I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. On the 1980s sitcom Family Ties, a teenage conservative played by Michael J. Fox clashes with his liberal parents. But it was Justine Bateman, the actress who played one of his sisters, who celebrated Donald Trump's recent victory with this viral post on X, decompressing from walking on eggshells for the past 4 years. And I just have to say, why would you open this by talking about Family Ties and Justine Bateman? Like, this is the weirdest, like, intro to this idea. Like, oh, well, she played a character, and he played a character. Anyway, here's something completely unrelated that the actress said, like, 40 years after playing that character. Okay. Anti-wokeness may not have decided the election, and plenty of critics of progressive sanctimony preferred Kamala Harris. Hi, but a perception of Democrats as the party of political correctness didn't help matters. And I just want to stop and say, literally, I do not think that played a role in this at all, except as a jangly bit of keys to distract Republican voters from Googling what is a tariff. Genuinely. I think that all of the trans issues that conservatives constantly bring up, it's just jangly keys, flashy keys in the eyes of their constituents so that they never actually Google, hey, what is Obamacare? Hey, what are tariffs? Hey, why are the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer? That kind of stuff. Thanks, Cool G. But anyway, the circa 2016 liberal belief that Mr. Trump won because voters are bigots was challenged by the strides he made this time around with Black and Latino voters. And again, I don't know that he made strides so much as Kamala Harris just did not have the messaging to win them over. This might seem, then, like a moment for figuring out how to decouple progressive sanctimony from progressive politics. Instead, Mr. Trump's opponents appear to be regrouping on the newly popular social media platform Bluesky to talk among themselves, which is pretty funny, right? Like, just as a paragraph goes, because one would think that the moment to discuss what happened and figure out what the rhetoric should be going forward and stuff. That's an internal conversation that takes place within left-leaning circles. So it would make sense for lefties to all congregate to talk about how, you know, what approach needs to be embraced in the future. But like, this article is really mad about that. Bluesky is a text-heavy social media platform similar to what Twitter, now X, was under Jack Dorsey, who helped found both Twitter and Bluesky, but is not currently running either. It costs nothing, and it's ad-free and relatively easy to use. Right now, it's functioning largely as an alternative to X, owned by Trump-aligned Elon Musk. And I do have to say, a text-heavy social media platform? Globe and Mail, you're limited to like 140 characters. You can't call that text heavy. This would be like, I don't know, 100 tweets to tweet out this entire article. It's not text heavy. Also, like, you can put images and video on Bluesky. God. Bluesky. Oh, is the character limit 200? Okay, I just know that there is a limit. To get a sense of the atmosphere on Bluesky, peruse the endless stream of posts from users, including from major figures referring to themselves as refugees from X, terminology that made its way uncritically into Slate coverage. The idea that switching over to a different platform for your socials has anything in common with fleeing a war zone is not just clueless. Oh my god. This article is supposed to be anti-woke, and it is complaining about refugee being used outside of people who are displaced by war. Are you fucking kidding me? I haven't read this yet. This is all amazing. Oh my god. The idea that switching... Okay. Which is jarring on a site so otherwise attuned to hypersensitives, though some have called it out in its usual sanctimonious tone, but also indicative of self-seriousness levels. The Discover tab brought me to a post that began, "I love that a week ago I never thought I'd log into this app ever again, and now I'm clinging to it like a scared orphan bear cub getting pulled out of a forest fire." But like... This person is upset because someone jokingly and with hyperbole talked about how, like, attached they are to this new social media site. Like, I think that you're just a conservative bigot who doesn't understand a joke. That's kind of what this seems like. The author of this article is so stuck in their own echo chamber that they think everything people want to talk about is politics. I don't even think honestly, like, they just don't like discovering new posts, I guess. It's so weird. Like, the complaining that refugees being used in a more colloquial way, the idea that, like, this person who's talking about being a scared orphaned bear cub pulled out of a forest fire is being serious about that. Like, I don't know. Like, let me put it this way. I'm autistic as hell, and I understand the nuances going on here. Like, it should be glaringly obvious to someone who's not. But I digress. But the flight to Bluesky is a concern, not because X is the superior platform, but because at a moment when persuasion and communication are vital, Mr. Trump's loudest and most influential critics are building an echo chamber. just want to point out that Donald Trump literally owns his own social media website that he only uses. Many conservatives have created their own echo chamber on Rumble. Twitter got bought by Elon Musk and got turned into 4chan. Like, these are echo chambers. These are conservative echo chambers that are built and maintained by conservative figures. Yeah, Kick is another example. Like, yet this author has not. Oh well, you know, you're supposed to just deal with a conservative echo chamber, but heaven forbid you go to like a liberal one. And I do have to say, and I've said this a lot, but I'll say it again. Essentially, leftists never agree on anything. If you are at all familiar with any amount of like leftist communication, it's almost impossible because leftists keep disagreeing with each other. It is a hotbed of disagreement. It's just that the thing that they're all mad about is that Bluesky enforces a terms of service that precludes hate speech. Like, if an echo chamber is you can't have hate speech, like, oh no, that actually sounds pretty good. I don't really care what you call that, an echo chamber, a social media website, whatever. I actually think it's good when a website, you know, patrols hate speech. I think, for example, my community is improved when our mods sniff out like things that toe the line of that sometimes. I think that's good. That's the sign of a healthy community. But I digress. Recreating one's social media from scratch is a hassle. Bluesky facilitates this through starter packs or user-generated lists of suggested follows. These, too, give a sense of the scene. Left-leaning categories and lists of progressive journalists, academics, and so on. There's an anti-capitalist starter pack, as well as one for asexual and aromantic VTubers. Wow, this website sounds great. Even a problematic faves starter pack, which someone put me on, alas, has liberal commentators and the like. And like The Atlantic. Yeah? Why is she complaining about The Atlantic being on a list? Anyway, at this point, you're either thinking, finally, a Twitter for people like me, or running screaming in the other direction. Good. Get the fuck out. Sorry, that was not in the article. That was me. That was just a guttural statement from my being. The platform feels like a collective endeavor towards a gentler world, which, yeah, it's a distributed social media website. Anyway, etiquette guides abound. Dunking, sharing a bad take for the purposes of mocking it, is discouraged. Let's be clear here. It's not. If you see someone have a bad take, definitely dunk on them. If you see someone having a bad take, you know, you provide commentary. And if they're a conservative, dunk the fuck out of them, okay? Have a nicer, kinder world. I think that sounds nice. I think that sounds historically like the thing people who want to improve society somewhat strive for, actually. Like, I don't know. I don't watch the movie Mad Max and think, ah, yes, that's aspirational. Anyway, the people who skeet, what posting is popularly called on the platform, are better than that. I just call it tweeting. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not letting Elon take away the word tweeting from me. But what's missing from Bluesky isn't merely Nazis, but the center left, the unclassifiable, all the snark unaccompanied by righteous political aims. Why would you want that? Genuine question. Why would you want snarky empty assholes. What good does that like generate? If I'm gonna put up with snarky assholes, I at least want them to be correct. I at least want them to have good policies and like political aims. You know? Also, there are tons of like middle of the road lefties on Bluesky. Are you kidding? They do get made fun of, as they should, but they are on there. Normal people use Bluesky. It's true. It's true. Yeah, no, when this person says center left or unclassifiable, imagine they're saying classical liberal. You know, like they're essentially saying a conservative who's too embarrassed to admit what they are, you know? Um and so like also you can have irreverent humor. Oh my god, can you have irreverent humor? I've seen like trans girls drop in the F slur. I've seen, you know, like I've seen a lot of irreverent humor and like edgy humor on Bluesky. I don't know, don't be a big baby about it, I guess. Like literally they're complaining about there not being enough snarky edgelords. And it's like, well, if you want that, like there are other places you can go for that. Or you could just be a snarky edgelord on Bluesky and stop giving a fuck about how many people like your snarky edgelordness. Because frankly, if you're giving a fuck about that, you're not really a snarky edgelord, you're just an asshole. Like, snarky edgelords will just say it regardless. Lots of boobs too. True. Gotta adjust your settings to see him though. Let's see here. It's not because conservatives are funnier than liberals. Oh, wait, this is not because conservatives are funnier than liberals. Wait. It has no irreverent humor, no bite. Political uniformity breeds humorlessness. This is not because conservatives are funnier than liberals. Anti-woke comedy is as tedious as woke. But because if everyone is walking on eggshells, then no one risks being a bit silly, which is ridiculous. What is this post if not silly? What about this post, huh? What about this post? Yeah, that's right. There we go. Yeah, that's right. We get a little bit silly up in here. Karl Marx, but his middle name is Skid. Am I shit posting right? Boom. Nailed it. Edgy shit humor. Got it. Nailed it. Anyway, I also just real quick. The funniest jokes about trans people come from like people who aren't making jokes about how trans women are men. You know, like that's what, by the way, and believing that trans women are women is what this person would consider woke, right? The funniest jokes about trans women are recognize that they're women and make fun of them as such. You know, like trans women be shopping. Let's see. At its best, Twitter/X could be funny in a way that transcended culture wars. Stuff like Nathan Felder 2015, like the Nathan Felder 2015 post. Out on the town, having the time of my life with a bunch of friends. They're just at a frame, laughing too. It satirizes trying to come across as popular. This would feel out of place, unseemly on Bluesky. Does it satirize that though, or is it like a larger than life version of my girlfriend goes to school in Canada? Like, it's just weird, right? Also, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what Nathan Fielder's like political aims are, but I get the distinct impression that he would hate people like the author of this article. Anyway, the closest I've seen has been Jerry Chen's much shared November 13th skeet. Mental health break? You bet it did. Bluesky as post-election self-care. What? Did you like outline this and just leave this sentence in? Because it doesn't really seem to have anything to do with what you've built up so far, but okay. Where does this metaphor come from? Bluesky began as an invite-only platform. While it is now open to all, its origins had the effect of recreating the old Twitter blue check regime, wherein media insider sorts set the tone. Some is also built into the platform itself. The account of a British barrister, who I take it has the bad views on gender identity, has been flagged with an intolerance tag. Let me just see who... Oh, Naomi Cunningham. Like, it just links directly to a nonprofit. A turf nonprofit. Cool. Cool stuff. Yeah, this is a website dedicated to persecuting trans people. I take it they have the bad view. I take it they have the bad view on Jews, and links directly to like the Nazi Party's website. Like that's like the vibe I'm getting from this. Like you understand that when you are putting like bad in quotation marks and then you just link straight to a website that's sole purpose is to be bigoted and spread bigoted propaganda. Like, you know that they have the bad views. Why does Bluesky have a TOS? Yeah. Has been flagged with an intolerance tag for discrimination against protected groups. You can read her posts, but they're individually hidden behind a kind of trigger warning wall. Sensitive and rude material gets similarly flagged. Also, I just want to pause here and say, like, that's literally what conservatives want. Conservatives want the website where, like, if you're just scrolling, you know, nudes get placed behind, like, a little privacy barrier. They want that. You literally want this type of flagging, but you want it for things you personally find offensive. Like, you want this. Frankly, I also think it's fine to tag someone's like posts that are hateful with a similar warning. This article's doing a terrific job of making me want to join Bluesky. Honestly, that was part of the reason I wanted to talk about it, because I think Bluesky is pretty great. And also, I think the people who run Bluesky are pretty good. Like, can I find this real quick? It'd be really cool if I could. I think it's under my like somewhere here. But like the company isn't being run by like Twitter guy Jack Dorsey anymore. Is that like Jack Dorsey is like a weird little freak, and so my hesitancy in like talking about Bluesky really did derive from the fact that he was involved with it. But now that he's not, I think it seems pretty good. I think it seems pretty okay. I think it's run by some pretty okay people who are good at their jobs. Let's see, I should be coming up to it now. It's from a few days ago. Found it. Here is, I believe, yeah, the CEO of Bluesky.
Depends on what kind of user you are.
You know, X has often been associated, particularly given Elon Musk, to promote more right-leaning content. And I do wonder if Bluesky, given how it's sometimes described, Are you intending for it to be a kind of new resistance platform?
We're really building it for everyone. And so it's built for people to take it into their own hands and evolve it the ways that they want. And so the goal is to give people all the tools, all the code, all the ability to customize their experience. And then, I think social media should be basically common infrastructure that society gets to use and evolve it as society evolves. Building a more...
Wait a minute. That actually makes sense. Wait a minute. Internet infrastructure? In this day and age? In 2024? In Biden's America?
democratic form of social media to reflect a democratic society.
Sometimes it's
Depends on what kind of user.
Damn, that sounds pretty cool. I like that. Anyway, let's finish this article because it is so much sillier than I thought it was going to be. Okay. It's not easy to find, but you can change these default settings. Which, yeah. So remember that paragraph we just read about that woman who has hate filters placed over her like skeets? Oh, it turns out you can just turn those off. You can turn that feature off if you don't want to use it. So what are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? You can turn it off. God. But you don't understand. Having the option means some people won't turn it off and will instead be warned when they're about to read some bigoted content. Oh no. Oh no. Did you know that in online video games, if you type the word fuck, it gets censored? Did you know that? Did you know that if you want to be uncensored by the video game, you have to go into the game options and uncensor it? You click the uncensor option, and you can just do that? Oh, that's great. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wild stuff. Next level technology that's been around for like 30 years. Anyway. Nevertheless, they prioritize a sense of safety over exposing anyone to ideas they may disagree with or tones that may diverge from the be kind vibe. The same functions and norms that guard against political extremism overshoot the mark. Now, just want to pause and say, this person thinks that bigoted ideas are just ideas that diverge from the vibe or tone, which that's not what like bigoted ideas are. Like, being a bigot goes beyond simply not being kind, because for example, I can say eat shit, asshole, who wrote this, and that's not me being kind. That's actually me being really unkind. But you know what it's not? It's not me being bigoted. This is not like the same thing. Having an idea that is unkind or diverges is not the same as having, like, you know, bigotry. I don't know. I think it's actually good that people on Bluesky aren't subjected to endless neo-Nazi propaganda. I think that's good, actually. I think that saves our brains from damage. But I digress. There are also apolitical explanations for Bluesky's relative surge in appeal. As X has grown more and more clunky to use, ubiquitous and ridiculous ads unless you pay, bots promoting explicit materials, an incentive structure aimed at making outrage bait content go viral, an alternative holds intrinsic appeal. Clever posts on X have dwindled as well. Bluesky also allows unimpeded links to news articles unlike X, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, I just want to say, this is one paragraph out of a dozen you know, there are, wait, I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are 18 paragraphs in here, and I just have to say, you waited 15 paragraphs to drop this one. And you then listed, your main thesis was one reason that you very clearly have an axe to grind on. And then you proceed to get to 15 paragraphs in. Well, actually, it also makes a lot of sense if you don't want to just be spammed with ads, and you want a website that actually functions, and also you don't want your data scraped by AI, and also you don't want just like porn bots all over your DMs, and also you have more clever posts. Wait, that sounds a lot better. Like, have you considered that maybe having like a TOS against hate speech that's actually enforced, and all of these other things, are the driving forces? It's not just the one thing. It's not like this overarching goal to build an echo chamber. It's just a desire to not have hate speech and bots and AI systematically destroying your experience in order to make you angry every second of every day that you look at social media. You know? Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of nice to have a social media website I can look at that doesn't just fill me with rage and misery. Like, also, yeah, getting unimpeded links to news articles is nice. Is Bluesky safe from a billionaire buying it? I have no idea, but I think that the people currently running it are good, relatively. Nothing's ever truly safe from a billionaire buying it. $1 billion is a lot of money. Jack, it's worth pointing out it's less a TOS and more a moderation queue. It's perfectly possible to have bigoted Bluesky. You just have to subscribe to a different moderation service. Well, yeah. That's the other thing that has been under-discussed so far in this article, and that's its kind of open nature. It's a whole thing, but I'm not getting into that right now. Also, Brutus Magnuson, thank you for being the first person to support stream today. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Let's not forget passwords and personal info being leaked after Elon fired all the competent tech people. Yeah, and all those competent tech people went to work on Bluesky, and it works way better now. The only thing that works poorly on Bluesky is the fact that it needs to scale up its infrastructure to accommodate like 1 million+ users a day that have been joining it. It's been kind of crazy. Anyway, let's try and finish this. And in terms of viewpoint diversity, the reality is that many progressive-leaning individuals and institutions have left X or likely will soon. The Guardian has announced as much. National Public Radio, beloved of American liberals, just not exclusively so, did the same in April of 2023. So now there are 2 Twitters. If you don't want to silo yourself off or log off, you need to be on both. Toggling between 2 platforms is annoying, but that's not the main issue. If the idea is to create a safe space for the like-minded in politics and an affinity for scolding, then fair enough. But if the aim is to defeat authoritarianism, I'm not persuaded that Bluesky helps. It's not just that the platform as it currently exists sheds no light on why Mr. Trump won, it's that left liberal smugness was part of the problem. And you can't point that out on a platform going all in on the same. Well, wait a minute. Let's test that theory. Let's test that theory real quick, okay? New post, okay? One of the reasons Trump won was because of liberal smugness. Here, you know what? We'll even do fact. And you know what? Fact. Another one of the reasons Trump won was because of a liberal inability to meet the material needs of their constituents. Oh, that's a lot of H's. There we go. Yeah, my keyboard is cheap because I bought it as just like a stand-in until I get my full workstation over here. Whew. But let's see how that goes. I think it'll go okay. Somehow I get the feeling, you know, we're testing it in live time. Let's see here. Now, click clack, indeed. We got to verify that account. I do have to verify the account, but I'll work on it. Anyway, I do want to say, oh, it's that left liberal smugness that was part of the problem, and you can't point that out on a platform going all in on the same. No, the thing that lost Kamala Harris this election wasn't smugness, though I'm sure that was a factor. The main factor was the fact that, like, she didn't have an economic message that resonated with working class voters. It's one of the first elections in modern history where Democrats lost the working class. That's the fundamental shift. It's like, it's not that Donald Trump was doing special, like, you know, overtures to the African American community or the Latino community. Like, it is very specifically that, like, Biden has offered them relatively little. Again, both groups, but both, like, African Americans and Latinos disproportionately, like, impoverished compared to, you know, white folks. And also, like, working class people in general didn't get much. They didn't see a lot of these improvements Biden made to the economy. Like, lower unemployment rate of, like, you know, 2% lower, that doesn't translate to, like, an individual worker in a rural community or in most communities. On top of that, you have issues like Gaza, which, you know, kind of take away the sheen of the anti-war Democrats, which historically that's been the Democratic position. And, like Biden wasn't able to get through, like, a $15 minimum wage, which would have bumped up wages not just for minimum wage workers, but for people, you know, making a slightly more than minimum wage. You know, a lot of people don't view themselves as middle class either. True. And this is because her economic policy was directed by her brother-in-law, who, again, CFO of Uber. Like, you don't get much less out of touch with the working class voter than with the CFO of Uber. So, yeah. Democrats only got the anti-war reputation in the Bush era. Yeah, but, like, that's mostly what we're talking about. We're talking about, like, what helped in, like, the last few election cycles, and, like, that's the reputation Democrats had. Of course, in, like, the mid-20th century, they were pro-war and hawkish because American empire, baby. But, like, you know, the backlash against Bush, you know, that's been the last, like, quarter of a century almost. So that's kind of what defines modern Dems, and she did not really play into that at all. I mean, Mad Laden, it's definitely, you definitely could have gotten a much better campaign if she hadn't been, like, thrown in mid-election season, but I think she could have won. I think the margins being as close as they are indicate that she could have won if she had run a better campaign. Like, obviously, it was a race with, like, one arm tied behind her back, but, like, I think she still could have, like, pulled it out. But that would have required embracing, like, a populist message that she was too cowardly to actually embrace. Anyway, Blue Sky is pretty cool. You should probably get on it, and also consider locking your Twitter account. I unlocked mine for a little bit so I could plug that Aftermath article, and maybe I'll occasionally unlock it to like just be like, hey, I did a thing. But other than that, I'm pretty much done on Twitter. Go follow me on Blue Sky. Segment button done. Hey.